everybody, and welcome to the Why Did Ask for RTX Special. So for this podcast, like I said in the last one, we did something a little different in the sense that I just got into TeamSpeak with a bunch of people. I think there was about 7 or 8 of us, and just did a bulk recording. It's completely unedited. This is just how the conversation went with some of the people that were Guardians, some of the people that attended. Just part of our group. So hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned after the podcast because there is a special interview with a special guest. So without further ado, enjoy the Why Did Ask for RTX Special.
And what's good about this is that if you have the pre-recorded, I don't want to say anything now.
Go on.
If you have the pre-recorded intro, you'll be fine.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
What is our intro? Do we have an intro?
No, it's just me at this point.
Let's do it.
I have a new idea as new staff member.
You're fired.
Oh, dang it.
No new ideas.
It's been a week.
How dare you suggest things to us?
Go to HR.
Who do you think you are?
Go home.
My God.
Okay, Fuzz, go ahead.
Okay, what's your idea?
I think our intro should be me asking, do we have an intro?
Oh, you need to do... I forgot to do it the last time we did a podcast with you. Remember you did that little jingle?
It's the podcast.
Why did ask for?
Can we veto? I'd like to veto that.
No, fuck that. I'm using it. All right.
I think that whole thing should be the intro.
All right.
The intro for every single episode. Let's do it.
I'll just leave it there. I won't cut anything out of this. Fuck it. So welcome to the RTX special of Why Did Ask For.
Yay!
Yeah. This is going to be an adventure. We're only recording TeamSpeak audio, so the quality's not going to be that great. People might talk over each other, but fuck it, we're going to roll with it. So currently, my name's Dan. I have with me Pat.
Hello, everybody.
Fuzz.
Hi.
Lego.
Hello.
And also lurking in the room is Mari.
Hello.
And Banjo.
Hello.
So 3 out of the 5 of us, 6 of us. How the fuck many people are in here? 6.
I hate fractions.
So that's what, 47% of us? We're actually at RTX this past weekend. Fuzz was our main correspondent, running all the social media, running the Periscope for Waxing Harry's Legs. Banjo was just there and awesome, and his mustache game was on point. And Lego was actually a Guardian.
Yes.
So I don't know where we're going to start this. I'll kind of leave that to you guys, like where you want to start it. Maybe who arrived first, who you met first, something like that.
I was the first person in Austin out of the 3 of us.
When did you get there?
I got there that Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Wednesday.
Oh wow.
Wednesday I got there.
What time on Wednesday?
Yeah.
What time?
I think my last plane touched down at about 1 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you do from the time you landed until... who's the first person you ran into? Who's the first person you met up with from the group?
From the group.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey.
Okay, and when did you run into her?
I'm glad we're going with the interrogation approach.
Well,
Don't worry. It's going to get
There's
really
more.
intense.
Intense like camping?
Yeah.
No, that's fucking intense.
Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah.
Maybe for the married people.
You guys
Go.
didn't hear about what happened on that second night.
Oh!
No, we didn't, but I'm sure we'll get to it. I'm looking forward to it.
No, I got to RTX on Thursday, I believe, was our first day to do everything. Was at the venue, looked around, realized I didn't know what to do in the midst of 40,000 people, pulled out my phone and texted Bailey, like, help me, where are you? And that was how we met up.
Wow, interesting story. So, Lego, when did you get in?
Wow.
I got in Wednesday night around 10 or 11 p.m. and what was it? I was gonna stay with Wolf. I didn't get a hotel because Harry didn't get into his hotel until Thursday. So I had to find a place to stay for Wednesday night. And I was gonna stay with Wolf and her roommates, and I was like staying in touch with her as I transferred different flights and things like that.
User
But
joined your channel.
Welcome, Jesse. For those of
But
us who don't know,
Thank
who is Wolf?
oh yeah, freaking people don't know who Wolf is. Wolf is one of the members that joined the server either slightly before me or after me. I'm not really sure. She was just kind of always there, type of deal, for me. But she got busy with school and stuff, and we don't see her around as much anymore. But I met up with her last year at RTX, and she knitted me a cool hat, which is nice. And I would have
Sweet.
been able to link you a picture of that if the RT site hadn't crapped its pants as far as images go.
Thanks, Adam.
But no, so yeah, she's cool, and she was gonna let me room with her and her roommates, who were girls, and that was like a little weird because I'm like, I don't wanna intrude and stuff like that. But they were both guardians as well, and basically once she told her roommates that there was a guardian that didn't have a hotel for the night, they were like, we are not letting a guardian sleep in the airport, which was nice. But by the time I got in, they were kind of all asleep, and so I'm like, nah, well, if it's okay, I'll just sleep in the airport, which is what I did last year. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy sleeping in the airport. You get about 4 hours of sleep, all the lights are on, and it's hot.
And you like that?
That sounds like absolute misery.
Yeah, it's not the best, but there's like a strange like novelty or like masochism to it. Yeah, masochism. There you go. Because I did it last year, but I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit alive. It's kind of like camping. Like I usually don't get a good night's sleep while camping. I usually have to wake up early and get going and stuff like that. So sleeping in the airport's kind of like that.
You heard it
But-
here
So
first.
sad.
Sleeping in an airport is like camping.
It's like camping. It's hot.
I mean-
the
I
lights
mean,
are on.
I mean, I was
The lights are
literally-
always on.
I literally was camping. It was just inside, you know.
Fair point.
I
Fair point.
want to know what kind of tent you're sleeping in, where the lights
So-
are always on.
So it's not a tent, and tents are not required for camping because I've slept like outside without a tent before, and that's pretty fun. But yeah, no, I just like laid my kilt out, and that was my mattress, and
Nice.
I built a pillow out of a couple shirts and shorts, and then so like I've got a bunch of valuables on me, right, or like relatively valuable things, or at least my belongings. So what I did was I got like my backpack straps and my belt and tied my belt around the backpack straps and then tied the belt around my arm. So if anybody tried to grab that stuff and run, I would be awoken and then
You're
they
so
would not go
hobo
away.
savvy.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because it was funny because right after I got my bed set up and everything,
Right.
two people. It's in an area of the airport that no one would ever go. Literally, the only thing up in this hallway that you can only get to via an elevator. The only thing up there is the Department of Homeland Security. Which, funny story, they came in about 6 in the morning, and I woke up to them coming in, and the guy like looked at me, and he's like, "Good morning." I'm like, "Good morning," and then he went into his office, and that was it.
Really? Homeland was
Well,
just like, oh, who's
you
this
know,
guy
it's
sleeping
Homeland
here?
Security.
Hey, how's it going?
Announces them,
Because-
Good morning, I'm
because-
Homeland Security.
No, he didn't say that. There's an office that I noted that said the Department of Homeland Security with a key card scanner on the outside, and he had a like I don't know uniform on and scanned into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume he was Department of Homeland Security.
That's a
Homeland
terribly unlow-key name for the Office of Homeland Security.
Well, okay. So, but anyways, nobody would come up here, right? So, but of course, about 2 seconds after I got my bed made, this other couple came up there, and not other couple because I'm not a couple myself, but a couple came up there, a guy and a girl, and I was like, "Hey, you guys sleeping up here too?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, this is gonna be kind of weird, but because I don't know. So I tried to get some sleep. I woke up around 3:40 in the morning, and looked around and they were gone. So I don't know. But that was pretty much my first night. I can continue, or we can talk about something else.
I love the idea of you seeing that other couple and they're like cold and tired and scared and just
Oh, trust me,
they
they
just want to
weren't
find somewhere to
cold.
sleep. And you just show up
I
already
I was there
already
first.
lying on the ground on like a skirt with your backpack. Like, "Hi, are you guys sleeping on the floor too? I'm Jake. Great to meet you."
I mean, if you're gonna get murdered by somebody, you might as well make friends with them before they kill you.
That's very true. Very true.
True.
At least they
Yeah.
can feel bad after they wear your skin.
Yeah, I mean
Right?
that's the general idea. Is it's like if I show these people that I'm human, maybe they won't kill me. Maybe they won't rob me.
Maybe they won't fully Buffalo Bill me.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Great.
So how did the rest of the group get together? Like, what was that process like?
Oh, it was bad.
I know, that's why I had to ask, because I know I was direct messaging on Twitter with you, Fuzz, and you just seem to be having quite the time.
I can just imagine them
I-
like going, "Where are you guys? Where are you? I'm right here. Where are you? No, you're not there. I can't see you."
I don't know. I thought it was pretty easy.
No, Banjo, that's because you were like a bystander in the whole mess. So before going to RTX, we were like already so disorganized with like meeting each other, but we knew that we wanted to. So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to volunteer to set everything up so that we can meet together. And I've never made a worse decision before in my entire life, honestly. It was so bad.
I
You
you did a good job, Fuzz.
that makes me feel so happy for you to have said that. Like you don't even understand.
I
'Cause
mostly
was
say it
worried
because
that I
I
had
wasn't
ruined
there.
everything.
I mostly say that because I wasn't there and can't see how badly you screwed things up. So as far as I know, you did well.
I was there,
Awesome.
and I think you did a pretty good job.
There you go. I mean, I'll give you this. Trying to trying to corral Harry in any way, shape, or form, I can see how that'd be challenging. And the fact that you at least got him into a room at one point and waxed his leg, I consider that a win.
I mean,
Harry
it's-
tried hard
it's
to get at him in
crazy
that first day.
that
I'm
you
sure he
fit
did.
him into a human building anyway. It's like he's so tall. Usually he's sitting around a fire with his mammoth, and you managed to get him into a real human hotel. I mean, that's commendable.
Can
I think
It
it might
was
be
paid
taller
for by
than him. I'm
Shelley.
not sure.
I want to put
Yeah,
Harry
shout
on
out-
blast for something.
Shout out to Shelly for the hotel room. I bought Harry a kilt and Drew chipped in for like our payment to him, but I guess that might not really have been best. But I'm
So
sure
if you think
Shelley-
about it, we most of the group paid for everything Harry did.
Nice, thank
my
you guys.
God.
How much?
did
How
we?
much did Harry? How much did Harry pay for? Because, Amber paid for the leg wax, and
I did.
paid for the kilt, and then paid for the room.
Harry has the
And he won
strongest
his
currency
RTX
on the
pass.
server, and he didn't pay for dick.
Pretty much. I mean, he won his pass from the Olympics.
He had
That-
the
Right.
Wait, what did you say? The strongest
Absurd.
what on the server?
The strongest currency.
The
The pound.
To be fair, I think it's probably a good show of American hospitality, if there is such a thing, that we because I mean, coming from Scotland, he had to spend at least a few
I
pounds.
mean, I'm sure just chartering the wooden ship and the sailboat to get him over here was like fucking ridiculous. Plus renting that red uniform. I mean, I'm sure it was astronomical, at least in the £half or 3 halfpence.
I kept doing this thing to Harry where I would be like, Harry, see, this is music. We have this here in America, and other like stupid crap like that. Just like the most basic things, like here, look, Harry, we have running water.
Did you have to teach him how to use the toilet properly?
Oh man,
Harry, this is called plumbing.
You don't
I can't wait for Harry to listen to this and hate all of us.
Honestly,
Hey,
though,
he had the opportunity to be here today, and he left.
Harry does not know how to use an elevator.
he doesn't
I
not know how.
What?
heard Harry was terrified of elevators.
He has some irrational fear of them. He doesn't even know why.
Does he
There's
think-
directions?
Does he think a
because they
camera
go
steals
up.
his soul?
They're gypsy technology.
Possible.
Hey,
Very possible.
Lego.
He's just glad he didn't room with me on the 21st floor.
oh my
No,
god.
no. Lego, Drew, and Harry were on the 8th floor of their hotel. Every single time they went to it, Harry would walk up 8 flights of stairs to go to his room.
What? Why?
That's how he stays so slim.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's not a big deal. Like 8 flights of stairs, I would have done that if my legs weren't killing me from RTX.
Right,
You
but
could not have paid me enough money. There's no way.
So,
Oh,
Buzz,
what
was
is
it
he-
like?
is he
to
afraid?
actually- Oh, go ahead, man.
He's afraid, yeah. He
Of the
doesn't know
elevator?
why, though. He doesn't remember why he's afraid. He said something
Okay.
about some bad experience when he was a kid, maybe, but like,
Well, I can
Doesn't-
understand like claustrophobia and shit like that.
apparently it's not claustrophobia. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I don't think it's that.
Did he
Oh my
fall in
God.
an elevator?
One
When
time
he-
I
If
went to
only
this
he was here to
park
tell us.
that was
Right?
owned. This park was started by this guy who just really hated dwarves and Jews. I can't remember his name. I think it rhymed with
God.
Galt Bisbee. And I got on
Name-
this elevator and it just fell 100 stories and it went back up and there were ghosts and I mean it's all a blur, but
Jesse, I don't think any of that's true, Jesse.
I mean, Walt
I just-
Disney did apparently hate the Jews, though.
That is.
No,
it
it
is
is
true.
That is not.
That is
true.
an urban
They-
legend.
That is
Nah.
an urban legend.
or is it?
Or
Right?
It is-
the world may
mean,
never know.
We'll have to
It
thaw
sounds
his
like it's
head,
true.
Which is in a freezer
That
under
fits
Disney
Jesse's
World.
narrative, so
Yeah. Also, he was a reptilian shapeshifter.
Oh,
that
course.
is true.
a
That is
draconian.
the truth.
Yes, of course.
I,
Sounds
I
legit to me.
Real-
I heard an insult the other day from one of the guys at work that I work with. He calls people Homo sapien sapsuckers.
Ooh.
Brutal.
That's pretty good. It reminded me of
Fucking
Reptilian
got 'em.
Shifter. I thought of you guys. But
All right.
So I have a question
Cool.
for Amber.
What's
Amber,
up?
was Harry's leg very soft, as I had always dreamed of?
I had a very special technique for waxing Harry's legs, and that
Go
was
on.
called
Go on.
"do not touch the actual leg," which might be why, which might be why it came out so badly.
I did like the
Oh.
shot in the Periscope where you're like punching the wax strip into his leg. Like knuckles first, not even using the palm, just fucking knuckle it in.
He was so angry that she was the one that had to do it. So she's like, I might as well.
Like
just
right
punch
until the
him.
last second, she's trying to get out of it too, and I was just like, "Man up, Fuzz!" And she's like, "Fine." Dan's yelling at me.
yes, Fuzz was very specific about how much she was being yelled at.
In all
I got
honesty,
yelled at a lot this last weekend.
In all
I don't
honesty,
think
was
you.
very
I
proud
don't
of
think you got
It was
yelled at
awesome.
at all.
Has a clear version of that video been uploaded?
Not
I
yet.
currently have possession of Drew's video, and it will be uploaded very soon.
That is great news because I can't wait to see it. Because the only reason I knew that Harry's leg was even waxed was that the orangish amber colored blur became a pale white Casper colored blur.
I know, right? I know.
Casper colored.
Oh
It was like, and then and also in the Periscope when they showed like people's face, I was like, I can't fucking see.
Everyone looked like they were wholly in the witness protection program. Like their whole body was just like blurred out for their
And they was
protection.
like, oh, and here's Banjo.
I-
And then someone is
Here's Banjo. And I'm like, is that an actual banjo or is that a person standing over
It was
there?
just a floating mustache. You saw
This
next to the
sounds
microwave.
like what it looked like in the room. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Banjo,
Right?
what was your impression of everything? Did you fully embrace what was going on?
I felt like I had to, really.
Did
Do
you
we-
half embrace it? Did you 1/4 embrace it?
Well, he had the wax with him, and he was the one who microwaved it and had it spilled on him when.
Yeah, how did that
Fox threw it to
feel?
him.
Oh yeah, ow.
Let me tell you the story about the waxing. I didn't know that was
Oh,
happening.
Banjo, I'm so sorry.
I did not know that was what was happening. I was just told, this is the hotel room we are all in. Come to us. I get in. The first thing they say to me is, put this wax in the microwave.
Oh, you had just got there when she threw that at you?
Basically.
Nice.
See,
Actually-
I thought that you knew.
I didn't know the waxing was going to be then. I walked in, saw the strips and the tongue depressors or whatever, popsicle sticks, on the floor. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing that now.
The more I think about the whole thing, it kind of came out like an experimental film with a TeamSpeak audio overlay. Because it's like all these voices I recognize so well, like all of my friends that I only know by voice pretty much at this point, and then just these different tinted blurs moving around this like also blurry space.
Well, I heard a comedian once say, I think it was Mitch Hedberg, and I think I mentioned this before. He said, what if the problem is that Bigfoot really is just blurry? And so when the Periscope started and I saw Harry, I immediately thought of that, and I was like, holy fuck, Harry is Sasquatch. And he's just blurry. Hence the poor quality of the video.
It would make so much sense.
Right?
When do we
Yeah.
When do we get to the part of the podcast where I get to start complaining about people at RTX?
Oh, that's coming.
Go ahead.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to get into that now, where would you like to start?
I want to go down the list, starting.
Amber's
What
got a
are-
hit list.
What are we complaining about?
Oh my goodness!
Let's start with Lego. I want to
Okay.
complain about Lego a little bit.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Lego is so nice IRL, which makes me wonder why he's such a jerk online on TeamSpeak.
I have explained
Oh.
this. I have explained this very clearly. The more of a douchebag I am to you, the better friends I like. The more I regard you as a friend.
Ah, there's some logic I can get behind.
Mhm.
I do the same
Because
thing.
If my mind thinks that I can safely, blatantly insult you or be racist towards you, it means that I know that you know that I'm joking.
Thank you so much for specifically mentioning the racist thing. I wasn't sure
No.
before.
Oh my gosh, come on!
Wow, so this is a
Oh.
race. It's about a race thing.
Can
It
we
is a
tell
race thing.
Can we tell the Hobbit story?
How dare you, Lego?
I thought about the Hobbit thing more after you said it, and I was like, I think that there's some racist elements to it.
Of course, there's.
Thought
What do you
about
mean? Of course, there's racist elements to it. That's half the reason why it's funny.
For the people that don't understand the Hobbit
I thought
thing, what is the
that-
Hobbit thing?
So, Fuzz described herself standing next to like Harry and I as a hobbit.
No.
What was
no.
it? What
It was next to Meg and Ashley because they're
Oh,
super
okay.
duper hot.
Okay, and Fuzz said she looked like a hobbit, and I was. I
No,
was
my
just
exact words were "my hobbity ass."
Like, okay. Sorry, but
Hobbity
essentially,
ass.
but
My hobbity ass.
to that effect, and then I'm just like, what did I say exactly? I'm like, I don't think there were any black hobbits or something like that.
Oh, great.
This is where that
And I
question came
started
from.
thinking about that for a while. I
Check your
started
Hobbit
thinking
privilege,
about it for a
Lego.
while. I thought to myself, it's not entirely racist itself. There are some racist elements, but what's truly racist is the fact that you heard me say "my hobbity ass," and the first thing out of your mouth after that was, "There's no black hobbits."
You can't be a hobbit because you're black. Get to the back of the mythology. Quote unquote Lego.
Oh god.
To
Okay.
quote the third movie, pikes in front, archers in back. Clearly, you're an archer.
my God.
Or were they
Dear
hobbits?
fucking God.
Dude, totally.
I denounce and reject everything that has just happened.
All right, so who's number 2 on the hit list?
I'm gonna
Wait,
complain
I
about
don't think she
Banjo
was
now.
done. Oh, you were done?
Oh, I wasn't. I'll loop back around to you.
Okay. I was gonna
You
say
get
the
double
hit
billing
list.
like Gus.
Lego's really nice in real life. All right, next one.
You will get a discreet message on the RT side.
Dan brought up this complaint, and I didn't notice at first, but now I have it because I didn't have a complaint about Banjo. Out of everybody that went to RTX, he and I think maybe Trevor to a lesser extent, were the most well-behaved people. But
Yeah.
Okay.
God damn it, Banjo! You're so fucking.
What the hell's wrong with you, Banjo? Fucking being all
now
polite
I
and
have
shit.
a complaint about Banjo. I have a complaint about Banjo that Dan brought up, and this can go into the link dump.
Dude, wait,
those
what?
pictures that we took at the podcast set, Banjo did not smile in a single one of them, and we took like 30.
Speaking of pictures, did anybody
right
upload
there.
that one of us the king's chair?
The third picture, that is a smile.
Is
That's
it?
a smile?
Is it?
Actually,
Yeah.
no. It wasn't the podcast ones. It was like the first picture of the warthog that you showed me, and he just looks so fucking pissed to be there.
We got into that warthog. The first thing Banjo said when he sat down was, "This is a stupid car."
because the steering wheel goes in the middle of the windshield, and on the top of the windshield is way too low. You can't see out of that car if you're driving it.
Well, hence why it's
That's
not
why
street
no
legal.
one's driving it.
And I wasn't ready for the pictures.
God, Harry is
I was
so
trying to get situated, and then okay.
Yeah.
where's
Oh
the
my
camera?
God, okay.
I can't see out of the windshield. Where's the camera?
Every picture after that was great. You were smiling. Everyone looked like they were having a good time. But the first picture that Fuzz showed us was just, I was like, man, he looks pissed to be there.
Banjo, can I just say that's a really nice Kelty bag, buddy.
Thanks.
On a side note, Jesse mentioned that Harry is so Scottish. I just wanted to say, Harry was the first person I met that I A, had never met before, and B, have never seen in any form before. So,
Really?
no, yeah, I've never seen a picture of his face, because I don't think there is one. But yeah, so I saw him, or I saw a person, and my brain was like, without him saying anything, and my brain instantly said, that is Harry. No doubt about it. Never seen him before. I just knew. That was Harry.
Fair enough. The only picture I've ever seen of Harry before these ones was like an old one of when he was like 12 or something that somebody put in TeamSpeak one night. And that was frightening.
The only reason I could recognize Harry was the kilt.
And
then I sort of went, okay, that's Harry.
Why not like the fiery red hair following him for like 3 feet behind in every single picture?
I'm glad my kilt didn't confuse you.
He was such a good sport for wearing the kilt, though. That was amazing.
That wasn't even a good sport thing. He was into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a stretch for Harry.
Yeah, Harry was super excited about
It's like,
that.
wait, the Scotsman wanted to wear a kilt? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wearing a kilt the whole time. Where's my props?
Right?
The thing about Harry is, A, he's Scottish, so of course he wants to wear a kilt. But the other thing is, he didn't bring anything other than his jeans.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, he's not smart.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
I saved his life with that kilt.
Yeah.
Did he wear it for like the
It
rest
was
of the time
kilt
there?
So he wore nothing but the kilt for like 4 days?
He's probably freeballing under the kilt because
Did he do
it's
it
the only way he
traditional?
could like not die.
He did not do traditional. I know because here's why I know.
Because I looked.
No, here's why I know.
You went to pull it up and you were like, oh, here it comes. And
Oh god.
No, the deal is, so if you've never worn, for the guys in here, despite the fact that a kilt is not a skirt, it behaves very, very similarly to a skirt.
It's not
So-
called a skirt, but it's cut exactly the same way a skirt is, and
It's
behaves.
it's not cut like a skirt actually. But anyways, it behaves like one. It behaves like one. Now, this is important because no, I had never worn a skirt or kilt before, so I didn't know how this thing worked. So it took me a while to figure out how to do things like sit down and not show everyone everything that I have when I sit down. So
kind of like
that-
you're wearing a skirt.
kind of like that, yeah. But having this experience, I've had my kilt for about a little more than a year now. Having a little bit of experience, I suspected that Harry would also be like me when I first got my kilt and not know how to sit in it. And my suspicions were correct. And so, like, there may have been a few times when, you know.
Wow, you saw everything.
Well, that's the thing, is that I didn't. Luckily, he was wearing boxers, so.
You didn't see any Scottish sausage.
No.
Oh God.
All right, just trying to point it out. That's all.
You got a good peek of the dingus.
But nope.
Little Frankenbeans.
We're safe.
Why little, Dan?
Honestly,
Dan,
half the reason my eyes were even there is because I was trying to make sure that he was doing things properly, or at least garbed properly beneath the kilt.
Right.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Your
It's
heart was in the right place.
it's like
for the ladies' sake, like honestly.
it's common locker room shit. Like
No, sure, keep going.
You're gonna
okay,
see
Lego,
some
we know
dick.
why you were looking.
it's just gonna happen.
That's, you don't.
You know?
You're amongst friends here. Nothing to worry about.
It's a safe place, Lego.
I want to speak on Lego's behalf. I want to speak in Lego's defense. After we did the waxing, we started playing Exploding Kittens. Harry sat on the bed and I sat on the floor, and Harry's legs were wide fucking open.
Okay,
So
see,
I
was right.
100% on Lego's side. Thank you for making sure that happened, Lego, because I could have died. That would have been it for me.
Bad enough I had to wax his fucking legs. Now I gotta stare at his balls.
I can tell you this much. I didn't see much, but I'll tell you right now, you would not have died.
Well, we'll
Can't wait
leave
to-
that at that. Moving
Can't
on.
Can't wait to see you next year, Harry.
So the
This
whole
is gonna
experience
be-
of RTX in general, was it something that you feel like you want to go back to right away? Or was it just the experience of hanging out with everybody that you enjoyed the most? Buzz.
All right, I'll go.
There you go. Well, I mean, I
Um,
feel like you had a
Dramatic
different
pause.
experience than Fuzz would have because you.
Fuzz, yes, that is 100% true. But I've had both experiences, so I might be able to effectively speak on both behalves.
Go on.
So in 2013, I attended RTX as a regular attendee, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. Panels were awesome, signings were awesome. Getting to wait in lines, despite how painful it was awesome. Because you got to meet a bunch of cool people, you got to do what you wanted, you had free time. That is a very amazing experience, and one that I miss. That I gave up for being a guardian because, I wanted to volunteer and help out. And while that is extremely rewarding, and shout out, by the way, to all my fellow guardians, because they're all amazing.
You can only
But,
do that if you make contact with every single one of them and have them listen to the podcast.
Okay. No, but it's a very different experience. It's fun in a different way, kind of similar to the sleeping in the airport thing. But
Right.
I say it. I've for 2 years now that I've been a guardian. I would really like to go back as an attendee eventually, because as fun as being a guardian is, you essentially get to do nothing that you want to do.
So what exactly did you personally have to do as a guardian?
So as a guardian, let's see, I guarded an elevator to make sure nobody got upstairs.
What are the hours like?
Why?
Why? Because
Yeah.
nobody was allowed upstairs, and
Like
no
what was?
attendant.
I mean, like what was upstairs that would?
Oh,
Like, was it an
on
event
the
or?
on the fourth floor of the convention center was where events and a couple of other like headquarters type things were, like
Yeah,
for
I mean,
guardians.
they were like burning a cross, and they were all in black robes, and
Mhm,
they had a
mhm.
White
they had
robes
a
with
human
pointy
child
hats.
sacrifice, and it's like, you just can't have fans stumbling into that. That would be
Right, right.
ridiculous.
Right.
And fans regular attendees were not allowed to use the elevators just because there's 45,000 people, and it would just be chaos. And it was reserved for like staff, handicap, VIPs, things like that.
Okay.
So guarding elevator, guarding escalator.
Wait, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Yes, you may.
What do you do if someone's like super obstinate and wants to get on the elevator? I mean, what's your course of action?
So if you approach me and said, hey, I'm gonna use the elevator, if you just said like, screw you, Guardian, and then just walked past me, I would not do anything. Like, I would say, hey, you're not supposed to use that, or maybe something a little bit more forceful, but I'm not allowed, Guardians are not allowed to touch anybody or do anything of like extremely forceful. We could.
So you're
Right.
basically just there to like strongly suggest that people don't use the elevator.
I can back like
problems.
Hey, please don't do that, or I'm gonna ask
Damn,
you
I
again.
wish I knew that.
I can back Lego up on this with an actual response.
Let me clarify. If you had done that, if that person had done that, I would not have been able to stop you right then and there. But I would have reported who you were, that you were coming up the elevator, and my team lead would have met you at the top of the elevator or the bottom, respectively, and taken your badge and kicked you out of RTX.
Right. See, so like for a lot of things, like on a serious note, like I work in retail. I've been a department manager in a grocery store for 10 years. Hold on, it's just relevant to it. Like the loss prevention or quote unquote security that we would have in our store are technically not allowed to really touch anybody either. But if people know that they're in the store, then they're less likely to do things. It's not that it won't ever happen, but so having people. A visual representation of some sort of authority to where you're not supposed to be does help deter people from actually doing things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've worked in retail too, and I just follow people around.
So
that's
what I say, like,
but not in like a I'm following you around and watching you kind of thing. Like I'm gonna annoy you with conversation because I suspect you are going to shoplift. And honestly, it's teenage white girls and young women. I mean, elderly women that shoplift the most from the store that I worked at.
Yeah, it's always.
So you work at Hot Topic?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it always depends on what's close by, but
Patagonia retailer.
How many elderly women are hanging out in Hot Topic in your town, Lego?
Okay, anyway, bringing it back to RTX, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Good Charlotte.
Sometimes a visual representation is enough to deter people. But anyway, so going on, elevator, and then you said escalator?
Escalators as well. It's pretty much the same deal. I was stationed for a while at we had card scanners this year, so you had to get into the showroom floor, you had to scan your RTX badge, which had an RFID chip in it. So
I want to say that was the best thing I've ever seen at any convention.
There you go. Yeah, because we had reports of people counterfeiting badges and stuff, or stealing badges, and I don't know. So there are a couple countermeasures for that in place. That was pretty cool because I got to see literally every single person that wanted to go onto the showroom floor. And I like interacting with people, so it was fun. But other than that, let me think. Scanners. I did a lot of line management outside one of the venues where a lot of the panels were being held. That was pretty brutal. We were out in the Austin heat for a couple hours at a time, just kind of trying to keep people from getting themselves killed. That was kind of funny because outside of the venue, it was the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of there's a valet drive. Now, the way the sidewalk works with the valet drive is that the sidewalk looks exactly like the valet drive, and they kind of just flow into one another. But cars are constantly driving through the valet drive, as you might expect. But people are oblivious to things like that, and they just keep walking. And a couple people, I think, almost got hit. Not under my watch, but that's why I was there, is because it had happened. So I'm sitting there doing that, and that was especially hilarious because we're standing outside this pretty freaking nice hotel in downtown Austin. You got a bunch of these ritzy, highbrow, rich people and stuff like that are just looking at me and everyone else there like we're a bunch of freaking crazy people. So when a 6'3" crazy looking guy with a kilt and my Naruto headband and badges on and everything tries to tell one of these, whatever you want to call them, flobbernozzers or whatever, they
Good word.
look at me. They look at me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to keep you from getting yourself killed, you douchebags." So, but I had to explain to them. I'm like, "This is where the cars drive. This is where you might get hit by a car." And they're just like, "Okay, okay."
Road, cars, sidewalk, human.
That was pretty much the look they gave me.
How much harder does your job as a guardian become when people like Fuzz come up and berate you for half hours?
Not too bad.
People like Fuzz? What does that mean?
What do you mean?
Sounds like a
people?
race.
I mean,
What do you mean by that?
no, not a race thing. I mean literally Fuzz.
Yeah, it's not that bad because I still manage answer people's questions pretty effectively. I've gotten pretty good at the whole 18 people are asking me a question. I can pretty well manage who comes next in that line of random people standing in a circle around
Let's
me.
be real. Me coming out to talk to Lego was the best part of his day.
Oh my god.
I love that you believe it so passionately.
But yeah, let's see, guarding that. There was one point, probably one of the more exciting points of being a guardian was, or at least things I had to do, was I was at the convention center, the main venue, and Ray did an impromptu signing on the showroom floor. Impromptu signings are great because fans from all around see that it's happening and then instantly flock there in the thousands, literally.
Right.
And so then guardians are dispatched to deal with thousands of people, and that's pretty good because you get to talk to all the people in the line, and then it's kind of like what I talked about before, being an attendee and being in line and getting to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
So that was pretty good, and getting to see physically, not go and talk to them because I didn't get to do that at all. But see Ray was pretty cool.
I guess that'd be a pretty big downside of being a guardian. It's just you're there to basically work, not get to interact with everybody.
Right. It's weird. Because they tell you going in, do not expect to get to hang out with staff. Do not expect to get to be buddy-buddy with everybody. And while that is true, you shouldn't expect that. It still kind of happens. So I mentioned that I didn't get to see Ray, but I forgot to mention that before the convention started, the day before, when it was just registration, they needed a bunch of help setting up stuff. So I headed over to where they were setting up the RT store, and I started helping out with that. And the next thing you know, Caleb is there, and I helped. It was pretty much me, Caleb, and a few other people just working on setting up a bunch of RT store stuff for 4 hours, and that was pretty cool because we actually did get to chat a bit.
That's pretty cool
and stuff. And he's a really cool guy.
Did you remind Caleb that he's technically a part of the Dark Brotherhood?
I did not do that. I forgot to. I think Chris might have even mentioned it to me.
Well, Caleb is on the wall of shame for a thing,
I met Caleb,
he's one of the
about
few
3 times.
What?
What?
Go on, Em.
Oh, I met Caleb, I think, about 3 times during RTX.
Do you remind him
that's
that
cool.
he was a member of the Dark Brotherhood?
I probably should have.
So that's a no. Way to skirt around that one. God damn it.
Listen.
I'd also like to address your lack of fucking updates. Screw you for having a good time, by the way.
How dare you have fun?
Right?
When other people who aren't having fun...
You were sent there so that us, who couldn't go, could sit here in misery at our computers and get your friggin' updates. But no, we didn't get those.
Wait a second. You are not about to do this to me, Dan, when I have chat logs between the two of us all throughout the week. Don't even start it. I will flip this over on you.
Look, there's a difference between what you and I spoke of and what everybody else got to learn.
About what?
there was hardly any tweets from the Blubberhood Twitter, which you had access to. So the poor people like Mary,
Checkmate.
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
No,
she had no idea what was going on,
Came to the U.S., but were unable to go there.
right?
Our poor
She came like
Americanized sheep had
Don't
no
worry.
idea what was happening at RTX.
Mary and
Don't worry,
RTX is like the typical first kiss thing. She came 80%. You were supposed to come the other 20.
I can come the other 20. I'm just not sure if there's ever going to be a good way to do it. Or
Are
if
you
Mary-
talking about your first night with Drew, Lego, or what are we talking
Go
about?
No. I'm
Come the other
saying that
20? Okay.
I'm saying
Oh,
that I am
continue.
in range relatively of Mary, and so
Oh
I
yeah.
could come and visit. You have
It's
to look
true.
for a good way to do that, but like, so she's still, despite being a lot closer than she was a couple months ago, she is still quite far away, as in 3 hours. So it'd be kind of weird for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna drive 3 hours to come, like, I don't know, have lunch and then turn around and go back home. So,
True.
but if I'm passing through and I have a good reason to say hi, then maybe I will wave in your general direction, Mary.
I will.
Let's talk
Be
about
waiting
how
What?
Drew
About
drove
Singer.
through my town last month. Literally was probably like 100 feet from me and did not stop.
Wow, what a dick. Speaking of Drew
Blasphemy.
being a dick, I believe Fuzz has a story about that, RTX related.
I feel like if I
Oh,
harp
I
on
love-
it anymore, it's gonna be bullying.
I
No,
love
no, no,
this.
no, because
Is
here's
this-
what's going to
is this
happen.
the pizza story?
Here's what's going to happen is ultimately I'm going to interview Drew at some point before this podcast comes out. And I'm going to cut it in at the end of the podcast so that he can defend himself.
Fuzz, should I not give the honest account of what happened? Because I feel like the story will be more
You
interesting
already
if-
gave the honest account.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's not on recording, so it didn't happen.
Okay.
Okay.
What didn't happen?
Let's just hear the story from
Guess
Fuzz's
this didn't happen.
perspective.
I want to. Yeah, this should be good.
Oh boy. Okay, so we get out of the Cards Against Humanity panel. And by we, I mean me, Harry, Jackson. It took me a little bit to find them. I ran into Crypt. I asked, when do you get off? He does not answer me because Crypt is just completely absent during the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Would you say he
We-
was silent as a crypt?
Boo.
Dun 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 dun.
that is strike number 1 against Lego.
Boo. That's coming from me.
Boo! Are you a ghost that's in the crypt?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Dun dun dun
Lego,
dun
you're my
dun
new
dun.
friend.
Wow. Suddenly there's layers to this joke. I like it.
Wait. Lego, go on.
I'm coming around to it.
No, I hate this.
Go
Okay.
on, Lego.
So I hear from Harry, okay, Lego and Drew are at Hoboken Pie. I'm like, how far is that? He's like, we just keep walking this way. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm like,
Right, the
"My
Scotsman in
phone's
America."
dead and you're not from this country. So we're just gonna let him go because he won't let me hold his phone and he's dead.
Those were your first mistakes. Your phone should not have been dead.
Listen, I tried to not dead it, but things happened. So we end up walking to Hoboken Pie. We eventually get to the part where it's not like touristy Austin, like we're just in Austin. And eventually we pass by this business building. I look around. There's nobody on the street. Some of the lights have like gone out around there. And I stop Jackson and Harry and I say, we need to take off our badges so that we don't look like tourists just in case something happens to us. Like we don't get like automatically targeted. Jackson's like, you're right, that's a good idea. Takes off her badge, puts it in her bag. Harry's like, no, I know what I'm fucking doing. We get attacked, I'll protect you. So I'm like, what the fuck ever, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not going to look like tourists with Harry's kilt, so.
That doesn't sound like something Harry would say. I'm sure it was something more like, they can take our badges! They can take our freedom!
I'm not good at impressions. That's actually exactly what he said.
It's like you were there.
So, you are correct. Like, Harry in the kilt, I thought about that, started walking about 10 steps behind Harry after that. So,
Which is.
He
was your best protection, believe it or not.
So we keep
Listen.
walking.
His size alone is enough of an intimidation factor for
D-
most of your would-be thugs.
Despite your gross
true.
generalization, Fuzz is indeed a hobbit, and they do have great self-defense skills.
Exactly.
Just make sure she doesn't miss second breakfast.
Also,
Aw,
12s is
Dan.
super important.
Right?
So, before I get into the next part of the story, I want to elaborate that I have been like to Baltimore. I've been to like downtown Atlanta. I've been to. You guys wouldn't know what Orangeburg is. It's a really bad
Fucking
town.
brag about it.
No, what I'm saying is I know what bad sides of towns look like. I've
Right.
been in bad sides of towns.
You've never been to
So-
Cleveland.
Thank God.
Don't slow down in East Cleveland or you'll die.
So eventually,
Here's a river
I'm-
that catches
I'm
on
isolating
fire.
that, and that's the intro.
Have you not seen the hastily made Cleveland tourism video?
You must go on with the
I
story.
love that video.
That is a great video. Go on, Fuzz.
Eventually, we get out of business buildings and we're just straight up around like apartments and like CVS's and stuff. And I start to see people that are like shaking and shit and like shivering, and they seem drunk and some of them high. And let me tell you, it was not cold enough in Austin for people to be fucking shivering from the cold. So,
Ooh.
It gets down to about 95 at night there.
Yeah.
Brr.
yeah.
That's unbearable.
So we're walking, and eventually, on the way there, some dude stops us and is like, I need you to hide me from the police. Come on, hide me from the police. And we walk away, and I'm like, man, this is not a good side of town. Harry keeps on walking, and I'm like, whatever, we got to keep following him, at least so that we can have someone with us, because once again, my phone's dead. Finally, ages later, we make it to Hoboken Pie. I say hi to Lego. It's great meeting him. I say hi to Drew. He's great. So I go up to the counter and I order my pizza. The dude's like, it's going to be 20 minutes until your pizza's ready. I turn back to Lego and Drew. They're like, is that okay? They're like, yeah, that's okay. And so I turn to the dude and I'm like, okay, go ahead and make my pizza, kind sir. And then I go back and sit down, and they're like, hey, we're going to leave now. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we want to go see Wolf now. And I was like, we just got
no.
here.
That was
No, stop.
what? Fine.
Stop. And they're like, it's okay. And oh yeah, I should mention, I definitely told them when I sat down that my phone was dead. I know it because I remember bringing out my battery pack and talking about it.
I
They knew
concur.
that my phone was dead.
I
So
concur.
Lego and Drew, they get up and leave. Harry,
Guys, I have to
then at
vanish.
that point,
I'm sorry, I have to vanish. Voila.
All right, bye.
bye, Jesse.
Jesse's
Au
going
revoir.
back
Jesse.
into the void. Jesse, no.
Arrivederci. Auf Wiedersehen.
Zoom
I've
height.
said enough
Goodness.
offensive things for one night. Good night.
User disconnected from your channel.
Harry at that
Correct.
point also leaves. I'm like, I look at Jackson because it's just us then. I'm like, oh shit. So we're stuck there, and I'm like, my phone is dead. How are we going to get back? I can't call an Uber. And she's like, well, how does Uber work? And I'm like, well, let me put it on your phone. And I try, and she's like, I don't have the signal. And I'm like, well, that sucks because my phone's dead. So we go over to the dude at the counter, and we're like, can we use your Wi-Fi? And he's like, I don't know the Wi-Fi password for here. And I was like, okay, that's awful. So then I'm like, well, can I like charge my phone behind the counter because we need to find a way to get home? And he's like, sorry, we can't let that happen because you'll be blocking the hallway. But I know this has happened before. There's like a bar next door. They absolutely will let you charge your phone, but you got to be 21 and up. I think to myself, Jackson just turned 21 like last week. She can do this. We can get home. I go to Jackson. I'm like, hey, can you go next door and charge my phone just enough until it turns back on so that we can get home? Her response, I'm not comfortable going to a bar.
Checkmate.
I think to
Okay.
myself, we're stuck in downtown Austin where neither of us have ever been, and we
You should have
both
just
saw-
called me.
Or
The-
me.
The point was she couldn't call any.
My phone was dead.
Yeah, her phone was dead, and
Jackson
Jackson
has
didn't have a
phone.
signal.
That's the joke. Ah.
Doesn't
My
Jackson have a phone?
God.
Yeah, didn't Jackson
She
have a
didn't
phone?
have a signal.
Tried to change providers.
Right?
I
Oh
went to
my
Hoboken
God.
This
like
is
later
clearly
that
your
night,
fault.
and I had signal, so that's Jackson's fault.
Oh my God. So finally, Jackson goes to the bathroom. She comes back and she's like, hey, there's an outlet in the bathroom. Why don't you just go sit in the bathroom and charge your phone? And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then I'm like, you know what? I want to be not in this pizza place anymore. Fine. And then I go and sit in the bathroom and charge my phone. And so finally, we call back an Uber. We get to the Radisson, which is where Lego, Harry, and Drew are staying. And finally, I text Drew and I'm like, we made it back. Where are you? Drew's like, oh, we're not there yet.
Where was he?
I don't
We-
User in
know.
your channel timed out.
We spent the other side of the story, at least, like not the other opinion, but the other literally what was going on while they were doing all this crap was Harry, Drew, and I all went to see the Capitol building, which is pretty cool because Austin is the capital of Texas, and I got to explain to Harry what like a real government was like.
Oh.
Don't start. Don't start.
Yeah, really. We got a Dane and a Canadian in here with you.
Yeah, I know. It's again those stupid jokes about like, hey, this is real things instead of your silly hill faring ways. I don't know, but so after that, I knew Wolf was in the neighborhood, and so I knew the guys hadn't met Wolf. So I'm like, hey, let's go meet Wolf and stuff. And they're like, okay. And that was just like on our way back. It wasn't like we lost any much time. We literally just saw them on the way back. We're like, hey, what's up? And then parted ways and headed back to the hotel. And that was
User was moved to your channel.
now we're at Fuzz. It's back to Fuzz. We're
back to Fuzz.
We're back to Fuzz.
We're
getting towards the raping. I mean the
Wow.
the shaving. That's right. Because technically, if you look up the definition of the word that I just used, I'm pretty sure that what we did to Harry would qualify.
It would not, because it was absolutely consensual, Lego. Don't loop me into
That's
this.
true. You're right.
Yep.
My bad.
Well,
I don't know.
I
if
mean,
I'd say absolutely consensual.
he did consent to, like, in a sense that, like, I'll do it if you raise the money.
Yeah. Harry's a whore.
But I can see that he definitely didn't want to do it, but he had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was obligated by charity.
Mm-hmm. True.
However, he did agree in the first place that if we raised the money, he'd do it, so it was consensual.
So checkmate
Not to
Harry.
mention, if
Yeah,
you guys
checkmate
remember
Harry.
the beginning of the stream or the video, he was on board until like the first drop of wax hit his skin.
That's
And
true.
then that's when he
Yeah.
changed his mind.
That's very true.
You guys should have
Then
tried to get me
again,
to do it because I would
consent
have been
goes
like,
away the
really
minute they
happy
say no.
to do it.
True. But he didn't say no.
He said, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say ah.
They can't say no if he's not conscious, right?
Oh my god. I don't like this conversation.
That's a bit.
Well,
Not
that took a
going
turn.
a good way. Yeah. Lego, please. Lego.
I don't know.
Write your congressman, Lego.
Regarding Lego, Drew, and Harry leaving me to be kidnapped or raped or sold into sex slavery,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we also had a round table at a food truck venue wherein Banjo, Trevor, and Bailey all were told both sides of the story, and everyone agreed that I was correct.
Well, there you go.
I just want to throw that out there.
I'm still waiting. I'm not giving my honest account because I thought we didn't want that to be on the record, but I can if you need me to.
I think once I interview Drew, we'll go from there. Because when the story was first presented to me, it was, oh my god, did I tell you Drew's a terrible person? And then she proceeded to tell me the story. And I was like, okay, so basically the accusation is that Drew's a horrible person for leaving her and Jackson alone at a pizza place with no phone.
Mhm.
So I need his side of the story before I can go further.